Hi, I'm Ros Cardinal, Managing Director of Shaping Change. Welcome to this webinar on social intelligence. Have you ever been in a social interaction that went unexpectedly wrong? Or maybe unexpectedly right? Or have you ever misread situations and been left feeling uncomfortable? If so, this webinar is for you. So let's get started. Now, social intelligence can seem like it's a complicated term and it can make people feel a little bit nervous or uncomfortable about it. But social intelligence is really just something we deal with every day. And doing it better can help us navigate our social environment more effectively. Whether we're at home or at work, knowing how to be more aware of ourselves and our surroundings can help us make the best out of any social situation we're in. And really all it is social intelligence is just the ability to get along with others. The objectives for this workshop are to help you become more aware of your own behaviour, learn how to be more empathetic with others, have tools for active listening, effectively communicate interpersonally, recognise various social cues, determine appropriate conversation topics, and understand various forms of body language. Self-awareness is a fundamental of social intelligence. Being aware of our own actions and behaviours is one of the key tools to change not only ourselves but our surroundings. We need to be aware of what communication we're putting out there and how our behaviour is impacting other people. Self-deception is a tool we commonly use to try and hide something from ourselves or prevent ourselves from accepting something to be true. We can often try and make ourselves believe whatever we want, and we alter facts in our minds by self-deceiving ourselves. No one is exempt from this habit, it's just part of being human, and we can find ourselves doing it a lot more than we think. For example, we could self-deceive ourselves that our presentation was the best in the group, or conversely, we could self-deceive ourselves to believe that people are talking about us when we walk away. Either of these scenarios can affect our relationship with others and give people the wrong impression of ourselves. One of the simplest ways we can help prevent this is to simply be direct with ourselves and with others. Try and always say what you mean and mean what you say. Don't try and deceive with alternative phrases or meanings. When taking in information, review it before making conclusions. Try and recognise the facts and the happenings that could form your final thoughts. For example, your presentation might have been very good, but don't assume it was the best out of the group. While it's absolutely okay to build confidence and esteem by believing in yourself or believing you know what's best, it's not beneficial to deceive ourselves into thinking, that we're better than we are, because that can cause us to damage our relationships with other people. We often forget that one of the easiest tools for increasing self-awareness is to simply ask for feedback from the people around us. It doesn't need to be lengthy, formal or complicated, and it can be done either professionally or casually. Because the people around us can usually see our actions and our behaviours, and they can give us an honest opinion about them. Now, the thought of asking people to share opinions and thoughts about us can seem unnerving or sometimes even really scary, but the advice and thoughts you get from other people can be absolutely invaluable. If possible, try and let the person know in advance you'll want feedback later so they have time to think about their impression and to gather any tips or hints for you. A random request for feedback, like right after a meeting, can be acceptable too, but keep in mind that if you catch people off guard, they might not be able to give you a good answer right away. It's also human nature to not want to upset people, so people may often find it difficult to give you feedback that they think you might not want to hear. And on that point, the most important part about asking for feedback is to prepare yourself for what you may actually hear from people, because not all feedback will be positive. You need to think about taking the advice and tips that the person offers you as simply tools to help you improve your style. Don't get defensive or angry just because the person may have said something you don't want to hear. Because the worst thing you can do is to get defensive or angry with people, because it means that people will be much less likely to want to give you any feedback in the future. Humans are actually designed to be creatures of habit. We often have the mindset of we want when we want it, and if something throws a spanner into that routine, we can go a little bit crazy sometimes. But being open to change allows us to adapt to new surroundings and to new situations, and it helps us grow as a person. Changing our attitude about ourselves and others can help determine how we build our connections. Sometimes after we receive feedback from peers, we may need to change how we do things or how we behave in a group. Perhaps after a meeting we decide we need to change how we plan our presentations. Whatever the reason, it's important not to disregard the importance of your willingness to change and not turn a blind eye to it. Changing how we see ourselves and the people that surround us can have a really positive impact on our attitudes and can help build better relationships with our peers. So here's some tips for accepting change. Determine how the change can benefit from you. Don't assume that a need for change is a negative thing, and recognise that it's a chance to make an improvement. Feedback from other people can be a really great tool to use, but feedback from ourselves can be just as valuable as long as we're not being self-deceptive. Now, being reflective gives us a chance to learn from our past experience and even our mistakes and recognise the chance for learning opportunities. By reflecting on our actions, we can see firsthand what actions we took, how they played out, and what kind of effect they had on people. Use all of your senses to try and recreate an experience in your mind and the actions that you took, and really think about what behaviours did you show, what were you feeling at the time, and what kind of reactions did you get from other people. Reflect back on body language cues you may have used and make note of any cues you may have seen in other people. What kind of intuition or gut feel did you feel from the experience? Did you feel as though you've learned anything new from the experience? Now, these reflective steps and processes can really help you reflect back on your actions and increase not only your self-awareness, but your awareness of other people as well.